Well, hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. Thank you for joining us once again here on YouTube and, of course, Twitch now. We are multi-streaming, and I'm joined, as always, with John C. Walsh.
Yes, John Christopher.
Yes, I love just giving you your full title,
Put
John.
myself down a little bit, Steve. No, I have to bring the mic down, though.
Even though it's not Sunday, I will give you your full title, John.
Promise
and
you guys.
We've got a few things we'd like to chat about in the entertainment world. That's the thing I always like about Monday's show. There's always plenty to talk about from all weekend's news, John.
Yes.
And we're going to start the show with, obviously, the thumbnail and the headline. Wonder Woman 3 will likely be Patty Jenkins' last film in the series. Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins reveals the third movie in the successful DC Extended Universe franchise will probably be her last. Now, a little quote here. Hopefully we can find this one this time.
Yeah.
It's not as that big article as that one on
me off
Thursday.
the screen as well whilst I gulp my protein shake down, Steve.
Well,
so
listen, you sit back, enjoy your protein shake, John, and I will read
it's
what...
pretty good.
It's here. Yeah, I bet it is.
Chocolate brownie.
Even though the newest film hasn't yet come out, Jenkins is thinking ahead to Wonder Woman 3 in an interview with the German publication Geek via DC Movie News 2. The director revealed she probably won't helm another Wonder Woman movie after the third installment in the franchise, while also teasing the upcoming sequel. She said this: Wonder Woman 84 gave me a chance to do a lot of things that I couldn't accommodate in the first movie. I was so happy to tell the Wonder Woman our origin story. It was almost her birth, but we really haven't seen what she is capable of. It's exciting for me to show her at the peak of her strength, but it's also very important that she fights an internal struggle. She is a goddess and tries to help humanity. She is not only someone who fights evil, she tries to show bad people how to improve. It's an interesting dilemma. The next one, Wonder Woman 3, is probably my last Wonder Woman movie, so I have to put everything I want to show there. We have to think carefully. It's wise words, I suppose. If you're already thinking ahead to a third film and a final film, then you want to wrap up that arc as neatly as possible. I'm probably taking some inspiration from Christopher Nolan, John, with the Dark Knight trilogy, getting everything wrapped up in a neat little bow for the final film. But I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman 84. I'll be honest, I think it was important for the audience to see the origin story. I thought it was handled very well. You still got an interesting story. It wasn't bogged down with the history of our people, etc. too much, but we did learn a lot. And also, it was well received. It was a time when the DCEU was a bit shaky.
It's a bit crap, Stephen.
Yeah. That's
Dawn of Justice and also Justice League.
Yeah, so it really picked things up again for the studio. And I think 3 films is enough as well for the director. I've got to agree. I think she wanted to do other things, John. She's probably looking at the likes of Nolan and seeing what he's done since obviously The Dark Knight Rises, and I think she probably wants to take a similar road. So what's your thoughts anyway?
Stephen, look, I love what Patty Jenkins has done with the Wonder Woman character. What she's done with the story is probably the correct way of speaking, John. But as I've guzzled down like half a litre of protein and I'm riffing every 20 seconds, you have to bear with me. I may take a short while to get my bearings back, but I will get there. I think she did a magnificent job with the character. I really enjoy the sort of... I don't want to say it's rooted in reality, because this is a character who's got sort of telepathic abilities with this whip and whatnot, and she's larger than life, but it's more rooted in reality, and it's a little bit more darker and serious than what we got before. It's almost like the Tim Burton Batman 1989, what she's done for the character. I love it, man. I love the story. The character's so likeable. There's a sort of innate goodness within her, but she's also knows how to deal with the bad people, for lack of a better word. Yeah, she is no nonsense. I love the relationship between her and Steve in the movie. Yeah, and I think she's right. I think it's the correct decision to maybe call it quits after 3 movies. And Stephen, look, even if Warner Brothers and DC don't want to call it quits after 3 movies, even if they continue on with the character, it's maybe not the worst thing that could happen, because we've seen it with the likes of obviously Thor. Some characters need a new injection, a new creative direction from a new director. Sometimes it grows a little bit stale, it stagnates. If you want to continue on beyond a trilogy, but that's obviously Marvel, they usually bring in different directors anyway. I think it was Kenneth Branagh who started up Thor. Lord knows who did the Dark World, but also we had Taika come in, reinvigorated the character. If this ends a trilogy and Gal Gadot's happy to continue on with the character and
that was
Warner
going to be my
Brothers,
question to you, John.
yeah,
Do you
if
think
they want to
do
continue,
you think Gal Gadot will continue on with the character regardless?
I don't know, Stephen. I don't know if she'll ever get a bigger role than this in her career. I spoke about her before. She's not the most talented actor on the planet. She's no Meryl Streep or Kate Blanchett or whatever.
But she'll be ambitious, though. You've got to give it.
She will be ambitious, and look, she's improved as the movies have continued. I mean, there's only been 2, and we've not seen the second one. So, but I'm presuming she's improved.
Yeah.
We've seen her in Justice League, and she is improving all the time. So, yeah, any actor will be ambitious and want to go off and do bigger, better roles.
This character, and obviously the actor playing this character.
Yeah.
It's a tough act to step into. I think the first film she stepped into was Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It wasn't it? You know.
Well, she started a career in Fast and Furious, so
yeah.
I mean, she had
for the character. Though,
grounded in big blockbusters. Though I mean, so
just coming in to step in between those two iconic characters in Batman and Superman must have been. I'm not saying intimidating. She's a professional, but I think all eyes would have been on her for that first appearance, you know, and it's the first time we've seen Wonder Woman in the big screen as well, out with obviously the Linda Carter stuff from the sort of late 70s, early 80s television show, and if there was a TV movie, I'm not sure, but so there was a lot of pressure on her for that first film, and there was a lot of pressure, I would imagine, on Patty Jenkins for that first movie to hit the ground running as well, and it certainly did.
It did, Stephen. Look, for me, it's the second best DC movie they've created within the DCEU era. I still have Man of Steel at number 1 because it's my personal favourite. Superman's probably my... I don't know, I mean, I always say he's probably... I mean, it's a toss-up between him and probably Batman. They're the two iconic DC comic book characters. But I think Superman would probably just edge it. Even though I don't know a huge amount about the character. We spoke about Peter Parker and whatnot. Not Peter Parker, Clark Kent.
Yeah.
I'm getting my universes mixed up here. Clark Kent, and I admitted I've not seen all of the incarnations. I've not watched Smallville and whatnot, so he's not I'm not the most knowledgeable on the character, but he's probably...
Did you just say Smallville?
Smallville? Yeah. Oh, Stephen, look, man, I'm doing weights, man. Yeah. Like 5 minutes before I came on here, it's an absolute joke. I really have to make life easier for myself. But yeah, I mean, I love the character, so he's probably still my favourite.
I'm actually picking this glass up so weird. It's because of the mic. I'm scared I'm going
it's
to
like
knock
a German.
Sorry, John, I interrupted you.
It's like a German in the big beer tents over in Oktoberfest. Stephen, I love Man of Steel, but Wonder Woman's up there, number 2 for me. And it's all down to Patty Jenkins and the great job she has done with the character, with the movie. Obviously, the second one has got to be brilliant because she had it in the can very early. That I don't think there was much reshoots, if any. She wanted to release it last year. The studio sort of pushed back on it. She never got a wish. We're still waiting on this movie coming out. When it comes out, I'm getting high confidence it will be fantastic. Just from the trailers, the vibe feels right, the era looks right.
Patty Jenkins, I've took the actual article away from my screen now, so I'm definitely going to have to paraphrase here. But, you know, when she does say, you know, that she's going to have to sort of combat her own demons, she didn't say that, but in those sort of words, where she's going to have to... she's going to have an inner sort of battle within herself as well, which is quite interesting.
Well, Stephen, I'd imagine that would come from reviving the Steve character. Steve's gonna have to be revived because he's obviously dead after the first movie. So, and there's a spider above us as well, Stephen. I'm acutely aware of that. Yeah. It's knocking me well off my perch here. I don't like spiders, guys. I don't like them at all. But also, Steve, this sort of moral quarrel over whether to bring him back using this stone. I think it's in some... I can't recall the name. Is it a London museum? What's the name of that museum? The Smithsonian? Maybe in New York, I don't know, but it's one of those museums. Yeah. She's got that quarrel, that moral dilemma over whether to bring back this character she clearly loves. Yeah. That'll be an inner battle. Is it the right thing to bring him back and whatnot? And just, look, again, she's always had that internal struggle. We've seen it in the first movie, this internal yearning to save humanity from themselves. World War I was happening around the planet. She came out of a sort of safe haven. Yeah. Also, Steppenwolf sort of made that happen anyway because he was coming for the mother box or whatever the hell it was. So she had to come out, but she was looking to help humanity. So there's always been that goodness and internal struggle within her. So I'm looking forward to this movie. I'm really looking forward to see what she accomplishes with the movie, how good a performance she can get out of Gal Gadot. How's Chris Pine going to act? How is Pedro Pascal going to be as a sort of puppet master? I think it's Cheetah's the other villain.
Yeah, two villains.
And help set up the third film.
I think that's why Jenkins is saying that. She really wants to show her at the peak of her powers, so she's going to have a battle on her hands anyway with these two formidable forces. But I'm looking forward to seeing this film. I've been looking forward to seeing this for about a year and a half now, John.
Correct decision to end on a trilogy though for Patty Jenkins. As you said, Stephen, just for her own career, she has to go off and test herself like Nolan did. I mean, Nolan was established prior to this, to be fair. But she's too good a director to continue doing Wonder Woman movies for the rest of her career.
I would love to see her take her hand at a Star Wars film, or maybe a trilogy or something like that, John, because she's well capable of it. I sound so patronising there, but I just think, that she has more to offer than just the one franchise. I think she's more than capable of handling another big franchise. So
absolutely,
I look forward to seeing what she does after the third film. But for the time being, I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman 84 when it finally does hit our screens, whenever that may be. But we'll move on, John. Mark Ruffalo. Why Mark Ruffalo was almost ready to hang it up as an actor a decade ago. This was obviously before he stepped into the shoes of Bruce Banner.
Yes.
Took over from Edward Norton, who did a fine job of that character as well. But if you're going to replace Ed Norton with another fine actor, then Mark Ruffalo is the next best thing, or maybe better, depending on who you like best. But despite starring in several highly acclaimed films, including Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Zodiac, Mark Ruffalo admits he was beginning to question whether he was on the right track. Then he was cast in 2010's The Kids Are All Right, and he told Variety that it proved to be a pivotal moment for his career. I was ready to hang it up as an actor and look towards directing. I pretty much had disbanded my team. I didn't have an agent or manager anymore. The things that were getting me down was the business and what the priorities were. I had good people, but I had lost my joy for it. Then this happened. I got nominated for an Oscar. I started getting calls. It sort of rejuvenated my career and my feelings about acting. It was a different kind of role for me, and people started to see me in a different kind of way. First film I saw him in, John, was I did see him in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but I couldn't remember him. And it's not that it was like a cameo or anything. Like, it was quite a big part of the film. But it was a film called Just Like Heaven they did with Reese Witherspoon, which I think my wife and I went to the cinema to see. She's a big Reese Witherspoon fan. I didn't know who this guy was, but he just had this ability, a very charming ability to be a likeable person on screen, and his comedic timing as well. You see that in the MCU at times with his comedy as well. He's very talented in that field as well, in the field of subtle comedy. But it wasn't really till what was the Avengers film called? Avengers Assemble. It was
Avengers
called
Assemble,
over here, wasn't
2012,
it? Yeah. When he was announced, I only knew him from a few films. But there was something about that. I wasn't really worried about him taking over the role of Bruce Banner. Someone had to do it because Edward Norton had already burnt his bridges with Marvel anyway. But
they weren't paying him, Stephen.
No,
they weren't paying him Robert Downey Jr. money.
I don't think he wanted to commit himself to a long-term project either, John. He's always said that he enjoyed doing the film. It's one of his most enjoyable experiences in filmmaking, playing Bruce Banner and doing that film. But he's one of these guys that moves on. I think once he does it, he's on to the next thing and doesn't really give it much thought, unless he's obviously exactly.
Not as good as Bale, mind you.
No,
but a good actor.
Yeah, but I think
good.
I've always liked Ruffalo. That last film we saw him, Dark Waters.
Dark Waters, fantastic, isn't it?
That's really what he. I think when he was sort of finishing, wrapping up the filming of Endgame, his parts in it anyway, that would have been on his mind. What I'm going to do next? I want to do something maybe dramatic, or I want to do something more serious. I don't want to start getting pigeonholed into the sort of the levels of the MCU. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he's a talented guy, and it's good to see that there was a point he was thinking of giving it up, and then this Oscar nomination came about in 2010, and his life changed after that. And I'm glad it did, because if it didn't and he did step away, we wouldn't have got his performances, you know, in the likes of Avengers Assemble and all the other ones he's appeared in. Thor Ragnarok as well.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
Yeah.
Also, he played primarily Hulk in that movie because it was, I mean, I loved it. See, and that's something I loved about the way they handled the Hulk character. A lot of people hate the way that Hulk was handled in the MCU. Obviously, I think it's Universal. When they hold the rights, not handle, to Hulk. And also, for that reason, Kevin Feige and Marvel and Disney couldn't create a standalone movie. They didn't hold the rights to the character. So what they did nicely was they sort of elongated the story out over 3 different movies.
Yeah.
I think it started in Ragnarok. It was was it Ragnarok? I think it was Ragnarok.
Well, it was in
primarily Hulk, and then it was Infinity War. It was primarily.
He had a big role in Age of Ultron as well. There was that thing with him and Natasha Romanoff as well, which was weird, but
I really noticed it in the 3 last movies of the Infinity Saga, though. He was primarily Hulk, then it was primarily Bruce, and then it was a combination of Smart Hulk.
Yeah.
And it really showcased the guy's acting talents because they're so different. Those characters are polar opposites. One's pure brute force and he's all about rage, and the other guy's a really articulate, sort of cerebral, scientific guy. And then to combine the two, I loved the way that character grew throughout the Infinity Saga, and that was really down to Mark Ruffalo and just also the storytelling as well. But the first time I seen this guy, Stephen, I've looked back, I mean, it must have been Zodiac, but the first time I can really recall him, it was Shutter Island with Martin Scorsese and also Leonardo DiCaprio, and that was in 2010. And he's saying that would have been the year he was ready for chucking it. He was ready for giving it up round about circa 2010. That is just completely bonkers to me. It's unfathomable that a guy of this talent would be ready for quitting. But I think that's the way the acting game is, Stephen, that can get them right down. That really, actors are sort of sensitive souls. I think most of them.
They've got to be active.
They live inside themselves. And it's a cutthroat industry, and if you're not working, you're not earning. It's sort of like my position. If I'm not working, I'm not earning, but on steroids, because they're earning multi-million-dollar deals if they are. Well, the good guys are, the sort of shite actors aren't. So it must be really hard. It must be taxing on the mental health. If you think you're not getting roles that are pushing you as an actor, that are not pushing you financially,
you can't help take it personally. And
then you look at the amount of bums and tramps that are in LA that have not made it, and you're looking at them every day and you're saying, if this goat continues, I'm going to be one of them. So I'm getting out. So it doesn't surprise me, because we've seen them go off the rails before. The Shia LaBeouf went off the rails for about a year, 2 years. Joaquin was a little bit dodgy at one point.
Yeah, definitely.
They can go off the rails. Mel Gibson, bit of a racist, sort of xenophobic figure. Anti-Semite, some would say, when he hits a drink. He went off the rails, so it's a fine line. It's a sort of straddling that precipice of sanity when you're doing acting. So I can completely understand it, but I'm glad the guy got his recognition. He finally got a role which connected. We've seen that with Robert Downey Jr. as well. We've seen it with so many other actors that have come back from the brink and they've sort of had a renaissance. So glad this guy's come back, because Stephen, I love him in every movie he's in. I see him and he's got such presence. He's not the biggest guy, and he commands
that's
the screen.
Thing, John. You talk about presence. You know, when I first saw Shutter Island, it was obviously for Leonardo DiCaprio, because he was the big name star in it. Ruffalo at the time, you're right, it was just that turning point. It was just before, obviously, the MCU stuff, where he was going to go one way or another. But there was something about his performance in Shutter Island. We talked about it on that review we did a few months ago. And funnily enough, I wasn't really interested in the guy's name or anything like that at the time. I just remembered he was in this romantic comedy with Reese Witherspoon. That's as far as it went, you know. And we were playing a game called L.A. Noire at the time, as I recall, and there was this character in it, and I said, do you know who he's like? And I think both of us at the same time said, he's like that guy that's in Shutter Island, you know, just the characteristics, you know, always in the background calling everyone boss, you know, just like he did in that film. And there's something just memorable about him, apart from his name, obviously, because we couldn't remember his name, but something about...
you know what I'm like with names.
But something about his performance and his presence in that film. And that's a film that stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow, and well. Ben Kingsley,
you know, and
really
this is the guy that I remember from the film, you know, out with Leonardo
I remember
DiCaprio.
Ben as well, though.
But there's just something about him, you know. He wasn't that big star that he is now. So it's great to see. And you're right, Zodiac again. He's playing this character. alongside Jake Gyllenhaal and Robert Downey Jr. It's a fantastic story. It's a true story as well. It's based on a true story, I should say. So it was very interesting as well, and he held his own.
And the man's went on to win 3 Oscar nominations for supporting actor in that time. The first one, The Kids Are Alright, that's what sort of brought him back from the brink. Foxcatcher, Spotlight as well, great movie. I think it was the Boston Globe unearthed the sort of child sort of paedophilia thing going on with the Catholic Church and whatnot, so that was a really good movie. And again, he's such a good actor, man. I love the guy, so glad to see he never chucked it.
Yeah, it all worked out in the end.
The acting world would have been a much stiller place without Mark in there.
Do you think he'll come back as Banner though?
Yeah,
you think
absolutely.
He will?
Yeah, if Universal will okay it, I don't see why not. He's still got so much to do with the character. Maybe he can go off the rails in the sort of character form and get back to being sort of Hulk, just fueled with rage, or maybe he'll just continue being good old smart Hulk. And Smart Hulk, not Smart Hulk. Slurring my words tonight. It was my first pictures as his director. Maybe he can take it. That's Stephen King, if you don't know. He was hitting the drink back in the 80s. He directed a movie and he says he really enjoyed it. It nearly ended him. He was lying and he was slurring his words like me. But Stephen, maybe he can fill in for Tony Stark. I don't know, man. We've got a big chasm. And I don't believe that Peter Parker, just for contractual reasons, I don't think he has got the cerebral sort of intelligent nature to him to fill in for a Tony Stark. Could be sure he
I've
could
said
be smart.
It before, John. After Endgame, Peter Parker has to grow up. He really does have to grow up quickly. He's had 2 films now, and he's still this little kid, wide-eyed kid. It's amazed at everything around him. He needs to. It's going to be very interesting. I know we're going off on a tangent here. Supposed to be talking about Mark
Tangents
Ruffalo,
are good,
but not in Tom Holland's part. He's done everything that was asked of him, and he's done it fantastic. But they have to now get this guy into the Spider-Man role, not Spider-Boy. Just let's
Spider-Man,
go up.
Spider-Boy.
But we'll move on, John.
Whatever a Spider-Boy. Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham. Sounds like a pig faint. Anyway.
I love that episode.
Jurassic World 3. Sam Neill gears up to fight deadly dinosaurs again after a month's long delay. Sam Neill will finally get to suit up for Jurassic World Dominion as he begins filming his scenes this week. Now, after months of setbacks, Neill is finally ready to step back into the role of Dr. Alan Grant. Neill shared on social media that he'll be headed to the Dominion set this week, sharing the message, "Hold on to your hats, getting my old one back on this week and facing off dinosaurs once again." He also called Dominion the best yet. Wow. And shared his excitement at facing off with the dinosaurs once again. You can see his full post below if you just look there. Yep,
working actor.
Yep.
Bums up, new movie. Woo!
John, I will agree with him on one thing. Getting the old hat back.
Yeah.
Not as iconic as Indiana Jones' hat.
No.
But he is famous for it. I think the first time he clapped eyes on the dinosaurs in that first movie, Jurassic Park, his hat was down, wasn't it? And he lifted it up, brushing the sweat off his brow, I think.
Yeah.
It's quite an iconic scene. And it's just good to see that this guy is back. Not just him, obviously. Some of them are coming back from the original trilogy.
Yeah, Laura Dern.
Yep, and Jeff Goldblum.
Yes,
so
the great.
And we talked
taking
about
a break from his jazz pianist.
Yeah, role. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt are obviously the main characters in this trilogy, but I don't think these characters are going to overshadow what those two actors have done in the last 2 films. I'd also say this isn't something it's not like they've panicked and did a Rise of Skywalker, bring Palpatine back. We need to do something because the last one didn't really perform well.
Snoke in the back of the tank.
Yeah. pickle jar.
Pickled Snoke.
I don't know if you heard that there was this was one of the things I was going to put in, but I thought John might go off on a rant on this one, but I'll tell you anyway. When we're talking about Snoke, the original idea for Snoke was that they were going to make him female. I actually wouldn't have minded that, John, because that would have been a big step in the agenda driven.
Yeah, true. Yeah, females can be bad.
Can be bad, exactly.
Look at Amber Heard.
Well, anyway, we'll go back to Sam Neill, moving swiftly on before we go on another soapbox. Yes. What's your take on this, John? It's good to see that after months of delay, they are beginning production once again, filming. Sam Neill's, we don't know how big a role he's going to have in this, but They have. Did we not report saying that they're going to be in the
entirety of the movie?
Yeah,
yes,
so
there's my famous.
That's
Stephen,
entirety. Yes, the entirety of the movie.
Entirety of the movie.
So, what's your thoughts?
Stephen, I'm excited for this movie. I have to say, I'm excited to see the bold Laura Dern back and Sam Neill. They're back again. Sadly, the kids are not back.
No.
They're incredibly cut up about it. Speaking about it, with to anybody who would listen, we're not coming back. We feel left out. That's because you're shit actors. That's why you haven't been called back, because you're shit. I don't even know what they've done since those movies, but I know what Laura Dern's done. She has earned an Oscar last year for Marriage Story. I love Sam Neill, man. I loved him in Peaky Blinders most recently.
Yeah.
He was an absolute arse rag, as we like to say here. In Scotland, Scotland. Continue. The Scotland, yes. The Hunt for Red October. He's an arse rag in that, Stephen, but he was a likeable arse rag because he was playing a villainous role, and he was playing a sort of Northern Irish chap, and he kind of get the accent right. People says he didn't, but for me he got it close. So I love this guy. I love what he brings to the table. When you bring Jeff Goldblum back, it's always a happy day. Yeah. He's such an oddball, but he's again a likeable oddball.
Yeah, definitely.
Big towering 6'5" guy with chest hair and tan to hell, wacky clothes. He pulls it off. Great pianist by all accounts. Brilliant actor. Can't wait to see the old gang coming back and marinading with obviously Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and the other little girl, which I'm sure will pop up, who was in the end of the last movie in the mansion.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll all be back again. I can't wait to see where Trevorrow takes this. This is a guy who had the chance to close off a sort of Star Wars sequel trilogy. I was about to say prequel. No, sequel. He never got that chance. They also, speaking about Amber Heard, Kathleen Kennedy put the bed, and she brought back J.J. Abrams. She brought back J.J. Abrams and denied Colin Trevorrow the chance to close. I brought you back on the screen there, Steve.
I was going to say, John, it just put me in mind of that hashtag. It was trending a few weeks ago.
Amber Turd, yes, brilliant, man. I love it. Oh, why would you take someone on the libel case if you knew you had that skeleton in your closet? What are you doing, man? You not realise you're going to come out looking like an absolute lunatic, and she has, and I'm delighted about it. But wait, I digress. We're done with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You know who I'm siding with? I love Johnny, man. I love that guy, man. I grew up watching his movies in the 90s. He's a wholesome chap. Not a chance was he guilty of that, and I hope they see sense. The court
scissors his hands,
scissors his hands, yes. But what I digress, man. She denied him the chance to close out that trilogy. I liked his ideas, keeping Luke alive and whatnot. There was some great potential in what he was dabbling with.
Yeah.
Now he's going to get a chance to end what he started. I enjoyed the first Jurassic World. I thought it was fine. The second one was okay. It was a movie of two halves.
John, I actually went off on a tangent. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Where that middle movie didn't do as well. Let's admit,
the first one was a surprise success.
And it wasn't that great. Let's be honest.
No.
Do you think the studio have pooped the bed and bringing these characters back, or do you think this was the plan all along?
I think it was probably the plan all along, Stephen. You're bringing Trevorrow back. He's finishing the story. They're out in the open, the dinosaurs, wreaking havoc in the wide world. We've seen Goldblum sort of I don't know what the word would be. Sort of premeditating the return. That's the word I'm going to use of the original gang. He was in the court speaking about existentialism and all of that. If the dinosaurs do this and that, then we're dead. Yada yada. Heavily paraphrasing. So I think it was even J.A. Bayona was setting it up in the middle movie.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting into this last movie, I think it's just right, nostalgia, story wise, to bring them in. They join forces with obviously the Chris Pratt character, Bryce Dallas Howard. Even now I don't know their names. And then they combine and try and save the day. Hopefully the dinosaurs don't get killed and wiped out. Hopefully they can find a safe haven that isn't a large volcanic island in the middle of the ocean.
I doubt they'll do that, John. That's killing a cash cow if they want to do a third trilogy. But listen, we'll move on.
Yes.
Another franchise that's went on a bit. Courtney Cox.
I didn't know there was a Scream 4.
Well, John, I don't think I've seen the third one or the fourth one. I saw the first two. I enjoyed the first two for what they were. Certainly the first one was... it was something unique about it, that dark comedy, because I remember the promotion for it. That mask as well was terrifying. I thought this is going to be an out-and-out horror, and it turned out it was actually quite funny. I found it funny anyway. But Courtney Cox confirmed to return in Scream 5. Courtney Cox confirms that she will reprise the iconic role of Gale Weathers in the what a name in the upcoming 4 sequel in the franchise.
Was she a reporter?
Scream 5. Yeah, she was.
Sounds like a reporter's name.
She was doing this. Yeah, Gale Weathers reporting from. Yep. She was doing this obviously.
BNC or whatever the hell they're called over there.
Certainly the first couple of films anyway was obviously during her Friends period as well. But it's good to see.
She was doing a Courteney then.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, there is rumours. I think David Arquette's confirmed he is coming back to reprise his role as Deputy Sheriff C Reilly. Neve Campbell. Rumours that she will be back.
She has to come
Sydney
back,
as
doesn't
well.
she?
Yeah, great actress. Scream 4 actually came out in 2011. John,
Dare I play this?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Copyright. But Cox has now taken to Instagram, as you can see, to confirm that she will indeed be reprising the role of Gale Weathers for the 5th time. The actress posted a short video featuring an image of the iconic ghost face killer mask worn by the various killers in the franchise, and it's accompanied by the words, "I can't wait to see this face again." You can see the post. You can click on that post if you want. Yeah, I mean, she was a big part of the original film.
There you go.
She was.
Okay.
I wouldn't click on it, John.
I'll click on it. No, you think so?
YouTube might pull it. Yeah, I would pull it, man. Just in case. you just don't know what's going to happen with them. They can track sounds, so they probably track video as well.
They'll have to be good.
Yeah, we better, because we're getting close to you know what.
I think some would say, Stephen, that they're already sort of bottlenecking us because we've went from 30 subscribers a month to 6.
Yeah,
so
there's something going on.
YouTube.
I don't think it's anything we've done. Surely not.
I think it was those early live shows, Stephen.
Probably. But we've never pulled them because at the end of the day, we want people to see, obviously, our progress as well. Some might say that there's been none. Well, that's your view. But what's your take on this, John? I kind of get what your take is, because you've said you didn't even know there was a 5th film or a 4th film. But I'm surprised to see this franchise coming back, actually, after 9 years.
Yeah. Stephen, look, as they do say in this, man, are they saying that the sequel's going to be directed by that Joe who helmed the Ready or Not movie?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Ready or Not.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great little movie. It flew under the radar. It was underrated.
Bettinelli Alpin, is it? And yes. Tyler Gillette. Yeah.
Stephen, I enjoyed that movie. That was a great little horror. So getting those two guys in, that's a bit of a coup. I think they like to say, not get a coup. I think that's how you say it. Nice sort of combination for the genre, for the film. Bringing these directors in, they understand it. Getting the original the gang back, not gear. I'm having a mare here. Thank God we're near the end of this show. And look, I might watch it. I may go back and watch the other ones. Then again, I probably won't. I might just dive into this one. I'm like you. I think I've seen the first two. Started going a little bit ridiculous, but the Ghostface sort of killer mask thing, that's one of the iconic horror looks. Yeah. It's a great little slasher movie. It's not to be taken that seriously. That's the way I looked at it when I watched it. It's certainly not like a Freddy Krueger looking through the fingertips sort of thing when you were younger. I mind I was probably early teens, maybe 10 or something when the first one came out. When
I think it was 96.
96, so well, there'd been 7 then, and it wasn't that scary.
No.
So it's a different type of horror movie, and it's not to be taken that seriously. And again, that's a great duo to come in, because Ready or Not had some dark comedy in there.
Yeah.
There's some little humorous moments, the way the deaths were handled. I think they could really bring their A-game to this and make it pop. So if they can get Arquette back, if they can get maybe Neve Campbell back to partner Courtney Cox, then it might not be the worst. It might not be the worst idea.
Might not, John. It might actually have that. Though. Well, either that, or it might do what Halloween did a few years ago. Sort of attract a new audience, a new generation, if you like. Because it has been 24 years since the original film, so long time. Yeah, I always remember when it came out. That mask as well. We were convinced we saw that in Call of Duty 3's
on
graveyard.
A tree.
The graveyard, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on a tree.
The cemetery on a tree.
Cemetery.
Poison, as it was called.
And a poison.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on. I'm going off.
I've lost an article here, Stephen.
That's okay, because John, we always like to end our show on a high note, and we're going to be talking about Pixar. We're going to be talking about Toy Story.
Oh.
But it's a terrible story, because it's a sad story, I should say, because Toy Story 3 director confirms the toys can die. Lee Unkrich, director of Toy Story 3 shed some light on the mythology behind life in the Toy Story universe, confirming the toys can die. Now, according
She's better
to
than Bond.
yeah, exactly. If they are destroyed, the director responded to a fan who asked him to settle a debate he was having with his girlfriend. That was kind of him, taking the time to respond. And Outcrick's original response can be read in the tweet below. I'll just read it out anyway. Yeah. They live as long as they exist, but if they were to be utterly destroyed, say in an incinerator, game over. He should have come out with this just when Toy Story 3 came out, to sort of put the stakes higher for that scene. But then again, it's a bit of a spoiler telling you they're going to be in a kind of scenario. But Toy Story 3, John, it's quite iconic for that scene, isn't it? The incinerator scene.
Second favourite Toy Story movie of all time, that one.
I don't know anyone doesn't get a little bit choked up when they all start holding hands, because they look into each other's eyes as if this is it, this is the end. So this kind of puts another spin on it now, because they can be harmed, or maybe not harmed. We don't know if they have feelings. They're toys after all, but once they're gone, they're gone. Oh
well, Andy certainly had feelings when he was being put in the sort of box that wasn't being used and flung into the cupboard or the wardrobe, whatever it was, in Toy Story 4. He was upset. He was getting left out. So I think they have got feelings. In this universe, there's sort of these little toys with souls. And it's first of all, it's fictional. It's not real, so it's a strange sort of argument to be having with your significant other. Having a big fight over whether the toys in Toy Story are immortal or not. I mean, well, they are immortal. Technically, they are. Because unless they're incinerated, then they're never going to die. They're immortal. They really have to be ended physically. So, I mean, technically they are immortal. But you're right, Stephen. I mean, if he had to have come out with that prior to the third movie, then we've seen that final well, it wasn't the final scene, but the scene near the end. Yeah. It would have upped the stakes quite a bit.
Definitely,
clutching the chair, willing those toys to get out of that incinerator.
Buzz Lightyear's going to die.
He's going to die. Oh, no. Woody's going to die. Slinky Dog's going to die. Stephen, I love these characters, man. But I do not want to see another Toy Story movie. I'm wrecking the joint here, coming back. I want them to end after 4. For me, it was always about Woody. Yeah. The story, and now that he's went off, and he's, unless they follow Woody, but I don't want that either. Now that he's went off and he's away.
Movie,
yeah, terrible. And also the original Andy and I think the little girl, they're gone now. There's no real need to continue on with it. I don't really want them besmirching the franchise. It should have really have ended at 3. I think that was a perfect conclusion. They went for the sort of cash grab for 4.
Made more money, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They made more money, so technically it was a success, but I could have been doing without it.
Creative terms, it could have been avoided,
But I think Lee Unkrich, I mean, I don't know if he's heavily hinting that they could come back at some point. And now that we know they have got a sort of existential battle with incinerators or other, maybe things, lawnmowers, a pair of tweezers, scissors if you're Slinky Dog. Maybe it will up the stakes in future movies, but I don't want to see them, man. I don't want to see it. Leave Toy Story alone now. That's it. It's done. It's done for me.
And I'm
done.
Show.
Yes, exactly. I'm completely done, Stephen. I don't know how I get through that show. It started really badly. It got worse. I was slurring Smallville.
Smallville, you schmucks.
Smallville, shaken, not stunned. And I seem to pay it back up, though, hopefully. So
that's the shake kicking in.
That was the shake, yes, and a little bit of water. And the adrenaline from the pineal gland or whatever the hell they call it. But Stephen, look, I'm done, man. Pineal gland, not penal. What do you guys make about the topics we spoke about on tonight's show? What do you make about Wonder Woman 3's Patty Jenkins? Wonder Woman 3, it doesn't even exist yet. Wonder Woman's Patty Jenkins.
Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Do you think that it's a good idea for the third movie to be the last in the franchise? You want to see them continue on without Patty? Do you think she's correct to move on from the character and the story? What's your thoughts about Mark Ruffalo almost chucking it, essentially? I was about to say hang up, but I don't know what he'd be hanging up. So what do you make about him nearly quitting acting 10 years ago? What's your thoughts on the good old Sam Neill finally shooting Jurassic World Dominion?
Yep.
And what do you make about Scream 5? Is that something you want to see? And do you care about Toy Story and its existentialism, that the characters can die? If you've got anything to say about any of the topics we've touched upon on today's show, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see us continue talking about movie news throughout the rest of the week and doing a movie review on the Friday. If you do, you'll see us tomorrow. Bye bye, guys. I'm done. Oh.